We've made shrinking technology at Black Site Studios. We are now Willy Wonka's factory.
Patent pending.
All right. So the BSS Project Roadmap. Here we go. So first off, let's start with the next backroom events. So we have two major backroom events on the horizon. The first of which, Mobile Arms Endless Destiny by Corey Sullivan, and Breacher by Matthew Burns. I spent so long making these, I didn't think that we'd have to sit up here and talk about them.
That's okay.
And I'm internally panicking.
We have notes to go off of. So these are the next two confirmed backroom projects. If you are familiar with how our backroom events work, then you would kind of know all about this. But these are like our creme de la creme games, ones that we want to support with full miniatures, terrain, the whole 9 yards.
New titles that we want to get out in the world with a really strong first step.
Yeah. We are really excited about these.
Yes.
The first one is
Mobile Arms Endless Destiny.
Mobile Arms Endless Destiny.
So, launching August 22nd. That is roughly 1 month away.
Mm-hmm.
Let me alt-tab so I can see chat and make sure we're still going. There we go. Roughly 1 month away. So, Mobile Arms Endless Destiny, there's a lot of text up there that I actually can't read on that thing, so I'm going to pull it up. Fast-paced skirmish game, 2 or more players, forces 2 to 5 mechs against one another, vying for dominance and substantial payday. Customize your mechs. They have little magnet slots that super nice. If you're at Adepticon, you may have seen a little preview of the prototypes.
Oh, that's
Corey
right.
made.
Corey did have them, yeah.
From the gaming club to kitchen table, the zone of operations deployment system allows all manner of table sizes. Kind of a unique deployment for it is that you set your objective and then deploy out from there. So
it's like a 3x3-ish area.
It's 3x3-ish, but the deployment in game forces you kind of to the middle. Mm-hmm. So you start in this kind of circle and then start moving in, which is it's a little bit of an interesting, different take there.
So Corey has actually had this in the Discord for kind of open playtesting. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case as of today.
Whoa.
He may.
That's not what I meant to do.
You're crazy, man. You're breaking all the streams.
Windows 11,
You're breaking all the streams.
Windows 11, get out of here.
So this has been kind of in the Discord, and Corey's been sort of openly playtesting this for the past, I would say, year or so, right?
Feels like that, yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. He's done a really good job. If you're familiar with Yafsiga, you would know that it's a really tight, well-written rule set, and that's kind of Corey's, I would say, hallmark. He really writes these like very tight, clean rule sets, and it's a lot of fun. The game uses custom dice, and it uses custom like movement widgets to kind of move the mechs around. And Corey, you can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. I'm sure he's in the chat. And if you want more information, you can jump in the Discord after stream and kind of hang out and chat with him. The game is 28 mil. I'm going to say 28 mil scale, meaning that it's like your traditional 28-32 size.
Right. The mechs are meant for a 28 millimeter miniature to fit inside. Basically, on this image right here, I can do this, I think.
Oh wow, look at that.
Basically, that is the cockpit. So think of like a fighter pilot or like a helicopter cockpit.
Yeah.
That the main miniature would be in there.
So these aren't, huge like Pacific Rim or Gundam sized mechs. We really wanted to do something that was kind of 28 mil scale. It combines really well with our existing terrain ranges and also our existing miniatures in terms of like people and stuff like that.
Yep.
Corey has a lot of really cool long-term ideas for this game, and we have a lot of really cool mechs planned out.
Yeah.
This is the first preview here, and as Connor said, it's pretty highly modular. So the plan is that you'll be able to mix and match weapons, and there is also some like inbuilt magnetization options and things like that. Corey's kind of taken the first pass at designing this first mech, and then I'll probably jump in and do a bunch more after that. But the system, our intention is that the system is going to kind of remain the same and be highly modular for you to play with.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I haven't personally played around with the mechs myself. I know you really like them a lot.
I love mechs. I grew up playing Mech Warrior, the BattleTech franchise.
I mean, who doesn't like mechs?
Right.
Let's be real.
Neon Genesis Evangelion, favorite anime. Gundam was maybe one of my first animes. So across the board, mecha have been there. I have been somewhat dismayed by mechs in tabletop games. They're cool, but they're very static, especially on the smaller side of scale. So when I got my hands on this mech that Corey had brought to Adepticon, I was just like, yes, this is, not only is this, it's like very similar to Infinity Tag size mechs.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But with the customization, the ability, so in these, the forearms actually, you kind of see it in the image, but there's a little rail that like drops in and out. So this one has hands, but then you drop it out and attach guns, and there's shoulder points, and it's all very well designed, and it's just like pop, 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 and then you're a really cool mech.
And the rules are really, it's very fast paced. You're not going to sit there and play for like hours and hours and hours. I mean, unless you want to, that's fine. But it's designed to be pretty fast paced. Play through a game, pretty straightforward, pretty intuitive. And it is going to be a boxed game product. So this is not like a hardback rulebook type game. That's why we have the box mock up there. And we are diving deep into all of our childhood nostalgias of 90s anime inspired. We're all, myself and Connor and Corey, we're all fans of things like Neon Genesis, Akira, Gundam, things from like the late 90s, early 2000s. And someone just said waifus. I mean, sure, why not, right? That's
Mobile Arms Endless Waifus. That was a working title. It was not.
And it's going to be a ton of fun. We're just going to have a lot of fun with it. We're going to push the creative as hard as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And like Connor said, that is launching on August 22nd.
Yeah, 1 month away. It's the next major backroom event.
You're going to start seeing a lot of mechs and waifus and everything else showing up on our feeds, and we're really, really excited to get this out there. This is honestly, this has kind of been one of those projects that like Corey's been working on behind the scenes, and Connor and I have been really busy doing other stuff, but now we can like switch and be like, okay, it's Mobile Arms, nothing but Mobile Arms. It's been really fun. I've had a lot of fun working on it.
There's a lot of little lore blurbs and things that I think it's a very fun world that we're kind of diving into, and you'll be seeing a bit more of that as we go through the next month and prep for the major release. And it's worth mentioning, during this next month, we're prepping to deliver on Hametsu, which we'll talk about, and then Don't Look Back the following month. So if you're thinking, wow, another backroom, well, the past two are going to be wrapped up essentially by the time this one ends. So
we've got it all under control, folks.
And that is our first major project. Zoom back out here, and then we can talk about Breacher.
Now,
maybe the longest development game that we have had.
Yeah, poor Matt, lovely Matt. We love Matt to death.
Oh,
that's not right.
Whoa! Don't look at this. Don't look at it. We're all right. Everyone's fine. Anyways,
there we go.
Breacher.
Wow, what a spoiler that was. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if he just like cycled through everything?
Yeah.
And you did. Breacher.
You see what happened was there's like a little timeline bar right here.
Oh, and you just click that?
And instead of clicking...
Wow,
that's a really bad design choice, right? Anyways, okay, so Breacher. One Breacher versus an... well, actually, let's talk about the origin of Breacher.
Talk about the origin of Breacher.
Matt, do you know? 2018...
Matt has been tinkering away on this game for a long time, and it originally had a release slot a little bit earlier that we kind of bumped it because we realized that what he had written was like a bit more substantial than what the original release was.
Yeah, the original scope was kind of more akin to the original Don't Look Back. It was going to be more of like a booklet game, just like a concept that had been fleshed out to get on a tabletop, and... that concept proved to be so meaty and juicy that we said, let's give it a little bit more time to cook.
Yeah, someone was like, give me that scope creep. And that's very true. And we've finally kind of settled on a release window for it. It's going to be Q1 of 2024.
Yeah. Most likely in January.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it. And it's going to be a hardcover book, as you see in this mock-up, with the associated bits and bobs on the sides. We are a little side sub-announcement, bringing in manufacturing of Spectre Ops range. They're miniatures. Their latest ones that they sold. We are in the midst of manufacturing. We will also be the main North American point of distribution for them.
That should be the plan, yeah.
So if you're thinking, wow, I would love some miniatures to use for Breacher, we're going to have them on our website soon. Or if you're in the UK or EU, you can buy them from Spectre right now.
We're also, as you know, if you're a friend of the stream, you've been around, Jess and Steve at Spectre are really good friends of ours, and we've been talking for a long time with them about having a collaboration with them and having them do some of the miniatures for Breacher, so we're really excited about that. I know that Steve's really excited to sculpt a lot of the cool things that we have planned for Breacher.
A little bit more flash. A little bit, this isn't, and I guess this kind of brings us into what Breacher is. Breacher is not a modern military sim. Breacher is not present-day Army Ranger versus the Taliban or anything like that.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be like, the Army Rangers never fought the Taliban.
Who cares?
And now someone's going to be like, the Army Rangers exclusively fought the Taliban.
Imagine being the Army, though.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Anyways, this is more Hollywood. Like it says, you are one Breacher versus an Op4 force. You load out your Breacher almost like a mercenary. Basically, you are a gun for hire solo guy. You do what you want. You wear what you want. You make your gear what you want.
Yep. Think more John Wick rather than like Black Hawk Down, if that makes sense.
Uses an initiative deck to activate. Campaign grows your Breacher by earning cryptocurrency, and then you spend it on gear and such. It is a skirmish game for 2 players. So while one person is playing the single model Op4, the other is playing, the single model, the other is playing the Op4 and has multiple, kind of like henchmen, kind of like the gang that John Wick kills. And they're trying to prevent the Breacher from getting their
one
goal.
person plays the hero and the other person just plays the body count.
Yeah.
That's like, if you're a fan of Don't Look Back and Violent Dark, you know that Matt is an incredible narrative writer, and this game will be full of that type of writing. He's been working really hard on this game, and he is really passionate about it. It's honestly, Doug's played a lot of it, and Doug thinks it's really fun. We have a lot of really cool products planned for it, kind of to come out about the same time. There you go. Matt saying Op4 is very powerful.
No, that's Doug.
Oh, that's Doug. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't see the names. I apologize.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to chat about Breacher, if you want to learn more about Breacher, make sure you jump into the Discord and hang out. Matt hangs out in there all the time. He's actually a Discord mod.
He is. A Discord mod. Cool. Maybe the best Discord mod.
Maybe he's the best Discord mod.
Like, if you're a Discord mod, you should look up to him.
You should look up to him. Yeah. So it's really exciting. I'm really excited to make the book. I think I have a ton of really cool, artwork planned out, and I did the cover art for this one recently, and it was a lot of fun. It's different for me. So we'll have a lot of that classic, modern warfare type vibes in there, mixing in some John Wick inspirations and things like that.
Some Splinter Cell.
I think the rule set is pretty versatile though too. So I don't think you need to think about this as just I'm a Navy SEAL operator guy or like John Wick. I think there's a lot of variation, a lot of narrative potential that you can use this rule set for too, which is really cool.
Yep. Very excited about Breacher. So that will be Q1 2024. Mobile Arms Endless Destiny next month. Breacher, Q1 2024, potentially in January. I mean, we're not putting that down on paper quite yet because we're still getting to that point, but it may be our January backroom right there. And that is our 2 major backroom events for the next 6 to 8 months.
What a stacked lineup.
Yeah.
Stacked.
Now, two major projects over the next few months. That's not nearly enough for us.
No.
So that's going to bring us to the Coming Soon project. Coming soon, these are general releases, supplements for our current games, things that we're planning on, like Lunar, Hametsu, and Yafsiga, that potentially aren't like major big backroom shenanigans, but we just want to give some love and attention to our other children.
Yeah.
First up is going to be Lunar, July 20th, 2 days from now.
2 days from now.
Through August caveat. New core box for Lunar coming out. You can see there, for a while we were waffling. In fact, I went on the record and said no new cards. Going to be new cards. We are going to update Lunar kind of, not to the extent of, but kind of in the same way we did Don't Look Back. That includes a new book and releasing some supplemental things, new factions and vehicles. This stuff, most of it will be dropping for pre-order in 2 days, on July 20th, on the anniversary of the moon landing. We're gonna touch down once again. Let's look a little bit in detail at these projects.
Well, yeah, but for those of you who don't know, Connor and I wrote Lunar.
Yes.
And that's kind of like our little passion project.
Yeah.
It was the second big game release we kind of did, right? After Don't Look Back.
Yeah.
Regime Rumble was first. That was kind of like our little test run.
Yeah, that was our test run for the backroom.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And then Don't Look Back was after that. And that's kind of what we're, I would say, mostly known for. That's been our runaway hit. And Lunar was like, we wanted to make a Moon Skirmish game.
Yeah.
Right? That was what and we went into it with an idea, and there is a lot of really dedicated fans.
Yeah.
And we're getting to the point with the original starter box that it was not really feasible for us to manufacture that as is.
Yeah, it's we've learned a lot since we've released Lunar. There's many follies made whenever we were making that core box and setting up the molds and everything for the production. And we're essentially trying to correct those mistakes. So the first big thing on the horizon is going to be the new core box. It'll have a new core rulebook. It'll have the updated card deck of 18 cards, 3 monopose astronauts, 3 monopose cosmonauts, new dice set, tokens. It's the same dice. It's just re-updated batch and versions. Token sheet, and it'll be retail friendly.
Yeah, and the most important thing on that list, honestly, is retail friendly.
Yeah.
One of the big issues with the original starter box was that it was a little bloated in cost, and it wasn't really possible for us to discount it enough to get it into distribution. And that was really hamstringing the growth of the game.
Yeah.
And it was really causing a lot of problems with us just being able to keep it in stock. And we have, I'll tell you right now, I posted this the other day, and the majority of the comments on that Facebook post were UK distribution, EU distribution. It was literally person after person being like, UK?
Yeah.
Anyone? United Kingdom? Right.
Yeah.
And this is basically our answer to this. We're trying to streamline the product so it is easier for us to manufacture. It will also be a bit cheaper than the original starter box.
Correct.
And we're going to finalize pricing in the next
24 hours.
We have an idea, but we can't commit to it because there's a little bit of variation we need to nail down.
Yeah.
But it won't be the same price as the original. We've gone through and we've revised the rulebook. There was a lot of, I won't say issues, but there was some things with the original book that we just didn't know because it was, frankly, the first book that I had ever laid out.
Yeah.
In InDesign. So,
right, and with the new rulebook, because I see some questions coming in, and we'll just address it because it's the next slide as well. It is an updated layout with rule clarity and minor tweaks. So the old rulebook still applies. If you have both the rulebooks, it is the same set of rules between players. There won't be like well, the new rulebook says this and the old one says this, and I was using the new rules and I just killed your guy.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. What we are doing is, and this is actually kind of a pretty good example here, this thing that shows off these dice rolls right here in the original book, because we didn't think about these things at the time,
No,
is
why
like
would I?
is in a little bitty square call-out box on the inside of the spine.
Yeah.
Now, it's not the worst thing ever, because once you learn the roles, it's not that much information to memorize.
It's not good design practice, right?
But it's not good design practice.
So this kind of really, I think, is also like showcasing how much we've grown as like creatives and as a studio.
Yeah.
We've learned things and we want to apply those to games and make them better.
Yeah. You've gone through, you've started updating art. And that's basically aesthetic changes.
Yeah,
is what's going to this.
It's really like an edition 1.5, right? It's not a second edition of the game, although you may want to call it that. The thing that I just want to say very bluntly is none of your stuff's going to be obsolete.
Yeah.
Right? It really bothers me when people comment that, because that's not really the goal. When we're trying to...
It was specifically not the goal.
It's specifically not the goal.
From the get-go, we've made it a point never to delete anything that came out.
Yeah, if you've spent your hard-earned coin on products for these games, we want to make sure that they are easily usable going forward. But what we want to do is we want to be able to get more players into playing this game.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we just need to give it a bit of a fresh, window dressing.
Yeah. So that is the new rulebook. It'll be for pre-order as well on July 20th by itself. Mm-hmm. It'll also come in the new starter box if you're getting straight into the game. If you do say, well, I really like the new rulebook, it will be available for you.
Yes, that is a really important point. If you have the original starter box, if you have any of the original products, you're going to be able to pick and choose what are the new components that you want to purchase. It's like, I don't need any new miniatures. I don't want to spend all this money on this new box. I just want the book and the new cards, right?
Yeah.
Those are going to be available separately.
Yeah. Also available. So that's all the revamp stuff. This new core box, this new rulebook. We're also going to be dropping...
Oh, look at this. What a fat
new factions and models. So we have the Japanese space program, the Indian space program, and a new freelancer vehicle that will be available this Thursday. These are the new miniatures. So if you do need new miniatures, we got them for you. These two factions are coming to the world of Lunar to flesh out the cosmonauts, taikonauts, astronauts, ESA, and freelancers. Pretty excited for them. And this kind of lineup represents a slight jump in time for us in preparation for the next big thing that we'll talk about. But the freelancer vehicle is a heavy industry vehicle that we're looking at having some little add-on bits on the front to switch it out however you would like.
Yeah, we were talking about, because I have two of the cameras, and those are the same cameras that from some of the other vehicle kits, and those can just pop off. And so we're thinking about having like a large plow or like other types of utility.
Heavy industrial drill. Yeah. And that is because at this point in the lunar timeline, there is now industry on the moon. They are farming regolith.
People are building stuff.
Yeah.
They're building things.
They don't have to deal with sending it out of the gravity well of Earth, which makes it substantially cheaper. This has also given the Indian space program and the Japanese space program time to kind of pull themselves up by their bootstraps, by the little lunar bootstraps, and get to the surface of the moon as well. So some new players in the game.
The freelancers, billionaires who ride up in phallic. Sure, why not, right?
More or less, yeah.
You can do that if you want.
So these will not be in the new starter box. These are secondary products off to the side, but will be releasing around the same time. So if you're looking to jump into Lunar, now would be a pretty good time.
Just another quick point about some of the new starter content. I've had a few people ask questions of like, "Oh, are we like nixing the five unit squad size or something?" No. So the 2-player starter box is exactly that. It's designed for 2 people to have 2 starter crews and kind of just get started with the game really easily.
Yeah.
It's not really like your deluxe starter box where you have like multi-part stuff anymore. It's not really like that. But the rules themselves haven't really changed. It's just we put together like what is the optimal starting forces that people would probably want when they're getting into the game, and that's basically what we get.
And it gives you a taste for the game, so that once you play a few, you can say, "Oh, I'd really like to try out this faction. Oh, I need to bolster my ranks with the rovers or with another set of astronauts."
The multi-part kits, I mean, the Japanese faction and the Indian faction, those are multi-part, so those will be the same types of multi-part kits that you already use. They'll be fully interchangeable with the other kits, so it'll just give you more variety. And yeah, be pretty fun.
There also is potentially some MDF kits that will be dropping. They're not rendered or finalized to a point, but if you are looking for more terrain options for your lunar board,
see if we
keep
can
an
get
eye
them
out
over
there.
the line.
The last thing for Lunar then is Lunar RS2. So with all this heavy industry, with this regolith farming and this concrete and iron and steel and everything coming from the surface of the moon, we are setting our eyes on Mars.
Like, yo, what's that big red planet out there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of materials on there.
Why is space orange now? So we were hoping for this to be released along with this big new core box, but with the amount of revamp and other things going on right now, we're going to push it off a little bit. Lunar RS2 will have some Martian rules and a few other bits and bobs of potentially things like solo play. Depends on where we're at whenever we finally put our foot down on, all right, this is it. Similar to RS1, it is not a next edition. It is just supplemental things. So you do not need it to play Lunar, but if you have played Lunar and you want to go to Mars or pick up some of the other things, I think in RS1 you had like the vehicle rules printed out in them. That will be what that is.
Yeah.
So Lunar RS2, pretty excited for that.
Yeah, we're gonna get our little boots dirty with like red dust instead of gray dust.
Yeah, and you can like rebuy all the terrain and theme it red instead of
You have to rebuy
gray.
everything.
You have to make a new table of red dirt instead of gray dirt.
Oh, that's gonna be so much fun! I can't wait to do that.
So that is the Lunar lineup. Let's actually.
Lunar's gonna have a big month. We're really excited about this.
So core box, new book, factions and vehicles. That is all on
July 20th.
July 20th, which is
Thursday.
And then Lunar RS2 hits the shelves in August. Hits the website in August. Takes us to the other general releases. So the other two games that we have plans for are Hametsu and Yafsiga. He's got me saying it funny.
Miniag.
Yeah.
It's Yafsiga. That's how I pronounce it. But then again, I'm Australian, so.
First off, we have Hametsu alt sculpts in August. We have some digital sculpting. By we, I mean Ben has some digital sculpting left to do.
Yep.
The backroom delivery is still on track for late August into September.
Yep, I've had a few people ask. I mean, we cover that every Thursday with the update streams. As far as we know, that time frame in August has not really shifted at all. It really depends on when those books are going to arrive. Okay, they are currently printing right now. That usually takes a week or so, and then they'll go on a big old ship and they'll come over here to us.
Yep.
And the time frames that they're quoting haven't changed. We'll see. It is on a ship in the middle of the ocean, so I'm sure things will kind of shift around. But as far as we know, there's no shift in that.
Hey, Doug. Hey, Doug.
Doug.
What?
Do you want to talk a little
You
bit
want to
about
get in here and talk about your own game?
I can talk about
the
it.
backgrounds
own-
and name? So tell us a
I
bit
can talk about it.
about backgrounds and name generation.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. Somebody on the Discord was like, it would be really cool if there was like a random name generator or a random like background generator for Hametsu.
To give like a little bit more character to your heroes.
Yeah. I thought that was a great idea. So we're gonna do it. It'll just be a free PDF. We'll put it on the website, probably on the Discord. I'm working on it right now. It'll probably be done a couple months.
Yeah, so that'll be a little bit of a supplement that'll hit a little bit after the delivery of the product. I feel like a lot of people, by the time they finish painting their minis, it'll be right around then.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal.
Perfect.
Backgrounds may or may not include rules content. I haven't decided yet if in D&D, your specific background gives you a little minor feat. So we may do something similar with this, where your background of choice gives you a little something.
And that's going to be free.
Yeah, it's free. This will be free content.
Just right into y'all's grubby little paws.
Yeah.
And then as far as the rest of the schedule goes, we have the main errata coming out Q1 of 2024.
Yep.
Adepticon, we have Raid 2 Echoes of the Undying.
Yeah, this is something I'm very excited about. So at Adepticon, we are going to have the second raid playable, and anybody that plays it at Adepticon will get a physical card of whatever item they roll on the loot table. You'll get to keep that card and use it with whatever characters you want to use it with. And then later in Q2, we'll release the second raid as a free PDF for everybody to have access to.
Yeah.
But those cards will be one of a kind. The only way you can get those is signing up for the game, coming in, and playing it in person.
Yeah,
So-
we're trying to kind of take little baby steps into community engagement.
Yeah.
We mentioned it on stream, I think a couple of weeks ago, about things happening in local game stores,
Right.
At conventions, and this is one of those things. Something where if you show up and you play, you get a little token.
Yep.
Just something to add to your Hametsu folder.
Yeah, and to be clear, there will be nothing in this that the regular players won't get.
Correct.
Right? Because the PDF of the raid itself will drop. You'll have access to all of those items. You just won't have the physical card of the thing that you got at Adepticon.
Just a little commemorative.
That's it. Yep, just a little collector dude.
Little doodad.
Yeah.
And then that takes us to Q3 2024, in which the School of Elements are dropping.
Yeah, so next 3 playable characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be exciting.
Any sort of teaser for those guys?
I'm sure you can kind of infer
Sure.
from School of Elements what they'll do, but these characters are going to be... How do I explain this? They're much more tactical in their use. And less just generic DPS focused. These are building blocks that are meant to be put into hunter teams to help with specific holes and fill certain needs that the team has.
Yeah.
They're going to do a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of new things. They'll break the rules on a lot of the characters that we have now. So it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to get them into play testing soon.
It's you've set the groundwork. You've given the core heroes and
Right.
roles. And with this first campaign, you introduced the School of Corruption.
Right.
And it started tweaking things a little bit. I think that's a really fun part of releasing new schools, of saying okay, now let's get a little crazy.
Yeah, it's not fun if they all just play the same.
Right.
Right? You want to look at them and be excited and be intrigued by the new stuff and wonder how it plays and get all the fancy builds and neat combos and synergies. So there's going to be a lot of that in this school.
Yeah.
And they will be varied. The intent is to have a magic focused one, a melee focused one, and a balanced one that's kind of in the middle. So they'll all be able to play a little bit differently.
I'm excited, mainly because between the School of Corruption and the School of Elements, we were kind of going back and forth on which one to release.
Yeah.
Personally, I did want the School of Elements.
Yeah, I did too.
But
I was a little more excited about it.
But understandably, the School of Corruption fit better with kind of the scope of where we were at the
Exactly.
time.
And we decided to do Wolf and the Devil as the first narrative campaign, which involves the School of Corruption.
So it just made more sense.
Yeah, you'll notice the second narrative campaign is dropping as well next year. That will have maybe some tie-ins with the School of the Elements. So...
Oh, crazy. It's like you've set this up to work.
It's almost like we had this planned.
School of Elephants.
Yeah, School of Elephants. That's right.
It's just different elephants. They have hats. That's how you distinguish
It's
them.
just Tony Jaa from The Protector. It's just him in 3 different outfits.
Oh, man. Yeah, so that's Metsu. There potentially is other bits and bobs that are dropping between now and then.
Yep.
As we mentioned in the beginning of the stream, that these are our kind of like our big bullet points that we're looking to hit over the next 10 months for that one, bringing us into Q3. I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right,
It's exciting.
Get out of here.
Bye.
Scott.
What about School of Hamtaro, though?
The School of Hamtaro.
That needs to be a thing.
Okay.
Licensing, that's the one we need, Hamtaro.
I wonder if
Whoever owns the Hamtaro license, hit me up. I got cash. We'll buy.
Yafsiga.
I took off my jacket because it's hot in here.
We messaged Corey Kosio in chat. We said, hey man, what's on the horizon? What do you want to do? And he gave us a lot of stuff. But these are the two things we're going to talk about. First one, Q4 2023, we're aiming for. Depends on kind of how quick we get through mobile arms. But Wodans and Kavan. That's one of those words that I've read a lot.
The Wadans and the Kavan. Six-man warbands.
Six-man warbands. So to go along with the Taiga clan and the other three whose names escape me in this moment.
The Telegrad contingent and the Silent Claim. The one that's what I know them as.
And the Corrupted Chalice Knights.
And the Corrupted Chalice Knights. In addition to these, there will be some extra sculpts to flesh out those warbands.
Yes.
The existing warbands. I have some plans for some more miniatures. So if you like the minis we did for Yafsiga, they're personally some of my favorites. And I'm not even a big fantasy guy, but I'm really proud of the work we did on those. I think they're really cool. And we'll have a whole spread of sweet new stuff to enjoy.
Yeah. We also, speaking of campaign supplements, potential Q1 2020, that should say 2024, not 2023. It did not come out this year. Campaign supplement, Shores of the Bloomreach. This would be the first kind of narrative campaign book Corey's writing out. It takes us to the fringe of the Bloomreach. And should add in not only the lore, but a few other spicier bits.
The Shores of the Bloomsreach.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that is on the horizon for Yafsiga. If you are a Yafsiga fan and you're looking to bolster your forces a bit more, next 3 months you'll get the chance to do so.
If you're not a Yafsiga fan yet, it is available. We did a backroom for that, and it was awesome. And the book is available. The hardback book, everything you need to get started is on the website.
Yeah.
So, it's a great game.
That takes us through Lunar, Hametsu, and Yafsiga. Those are the little bits that we're going to drop into support those games over the next...
I'll add one more thing to the list that we didn't talk about. But it is... There's like a... it leverages on a few things. Is Halloween of this year, but don't look back. Every year we do something for Halloween, and I know that people are going to start asking us. And I know this because a Spirit Halloween sign just went up in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like a CVS closed, and Spirit was just like,
it's like,
give me that. So it's just right around the corner. Now, here's the thing, right? We're not going to release something probably if the game is in the middle of fulfillment, and we're busting our butts to get it out. Our plan was that we wanted to start fulfillment before Halloween, and that time frame is still holding. So it's kind of contingent on that. But we'd like to do another Gord Reaper. That is on the cards. Matt is tinkering around with a few really cool ideas. We do one every year. So
potentially, if we get notification on the shipping books, and it does seem from everything on our end, allows us to fulfill in a timely fashion, then we may just start working on these other things. Then it'll be like, hey, by the way, do you want it for Halloween? Because they're ready to ship. Yep. But there's a lot of factors outside of our control that comes down.
We need to be respectful of people that have already pre-ordered a ton of stuff, and then rightly so, they're going to be like, I don't really want to get anything because I'm waiting for you to ship this stuff. So that is one of the things that we're really, just mindful of. But we do have some plans for this year, so I just wanted to mention that because I think Don't Look Back hasn't really had any information put up yet. Matt has no shortage of ideas for next year, trust me. But
the Gord Reaper is just going to keep growing eventually we'll release a terrain kit that is a pumpkin, and you are playing in the Gourd Reaper. He swallows you.
No, we'll release like a funhouse kit, and you have to like go through it, but it's the Gourd Reaper.
Oh, it's in
like
the Gourd house.
He becomes like a giant, and he's like consuming the land with like
Yeah.
his pumpkin, whatever.
The tagline will be like, "Time to get carving," and you have to carve your
so
way out
good.
of the Gourd Reaper.
Gourd 4, the Spicening. That's also a good one.
Anyways, no, that's not the idea. Unless that happens.
We'll just ship you a real pumpkin. We're just going to ship you like a real pumpkin. No, I just wanted
just
to
slap
mention
the
that.
label right on the outside.
If you're a DLB fan, we have no shortage of ideas. Actually, we were going to cover this on Thursday's stream, but I'll mention this anyway. The book is off to the printer. I sent the files off last night. I'm just waiting on the first digital proof to come back. So everything's moving forward really well. So
yeah, so if we can have a timely fulfillment of the big backroom Don't Look Back, then we will go forward with a Halloween release.
Yeah.
Because we enjoy doing that, and it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think for most people, they'll enjoy it too. We just need to be mindful of, fitting things in around fulfillment timeframes and stuff.
Yep.
So.
All right. That takes us to...
What's next?
In the pipeline.
In the pipeline. Woo!
Got a few categories here. RPG, TLC, SKIRMISH. RPG.
What is that?
What?
What is that RPG? Whoa, look at that.
We have 2 RPGs. You work for them. And then this other one. And you work for them is something that I'm so excited about.
This was an idea that hit us when we were at Adepticon 2021. 2020.
It was 2020. It was
2022.
19.
No.
Was it?
This was
it was,
after
it was
COVID.
after COVID.
Who knows? Everything's a blur and nothing.
You're right. You're right.
Time isn't real.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
was
a contract.
22.
Matt has already started writing this. We want to write this like together as a group. But Matt currently has taken the reins on chiseling away at kind of like the system.
Yeah.
This is kind of hard for us to explain. It's like I don't know. I don't want to say like backrooms because that's not really like the right thing.
It's somewhat similar to a fusion between the idea and concept of the backrooms, like the crazy place that you end up that doesn't make any logical sense, and the hit Apple TV show Severance.
Yes. Yeah.
If you've seen Severance and you're aware of like the backrooms and the lore, it resides somewhere in there. You are an employee in a company. You work for them, and you got to do stuff.
That's it.
You have skills. You have to navigate your way through potential labyrinths and things that maybe shouldn't be involved in an office space. But it's all treated as if like, oh yes, this is the octopus room.
If you've ever been, it's that that concept of like liminal spaces, right? But have you ever been in like an office or like a situation where like you're alone? The best example that I can make of is like, have you ever been in like your high school at night alone?
Yeah, that is true.
It's creepy, right? The best example that I used is when I was in art school, and I occasionally would stay really late to work on stuff, and you leave, and you're like one of the only people in the building.
Yeah.
It's like maybe you and like max 10 other people. But it's like creepy because a space that's normally full of people and it's normally really bustling and all that kind of stuff is it's not like that. And there's something off about it. And art direction wise, I've been having a lot of fun making a few little creepy pieces of artwork.
Yeah.
There's one that we've been previewing on the backroom page for a long time. But it is our intention that is going to come out next year.
Yeah, and we made a lot of progress on it. Matt made a lot of progress.
Matt has made a lot of rules progress for sure.
This was a lot of it happened last year, and then things got put on the back burner because of the big Don't Look Back relaunch earlier this year, and then Breacher coming up, as well as like the other dozen projects that he just jumps into all the time.
Music playing in an empty mall playlist included. Dude, we could do a cassette of like Muzak that you could play.
I really dislike the word Muzak for some reason.
Well, too bad.
Anyways, the Titanic RPG, Ben's brainchild and Renault for Game Jam.
This is my project. It's a bit of a meme, right? I joke about it, but it is something that I am actively working on. I'm a big fan of Titanic and that history.
Yeah.
It's I know that recently there's been a lot of stuff in the news
Yeah,
about.
thank goodness it
things,
wasn't the
okay?
Game Jam.
We were
2023.
planning to maybe do it as the Game Jam. I'm really glad that we didn't, because this is actually, in all seriousness, this is a serious project that I am working on. I think it has a lot of potential, and I'm a really big fan of the Titanic and that history time frame.
Yeah.
So I think it could be really fun.
You want to give a little byline?
I don't right now, because currently a lot of stuff's in flux. But
You want to give like a main? There's like a main goal.
The main hook of the game is that you use a timer and you have to role play kind of your way out of the Titanic as it's sinking. That's
Yes.
like one of the main points.
But
of
you
the
use
game.
a real timer that it sinks in 2 hours and something minutes.
Yes, I can't recall the exact, but it's a little under 3 hours. And the idea is that you need to try and kind of role play your way out of the disaster.
Yeah.
And
then in the end, there's not enough room on the door. That's the,
we who was it that
there's
suggested-
two endings.
who
There's
was it
not
that
enough room on the
suggested-
door, or you drop your necklace in the
Who
ocean.
was it that suggested, like, when you all sit down and play, you all take out your wallets, and whoever has like the most money is like in first class, and then whoever
it's
doesn't,
like based on
like
cash.
how much money you have in your pocket. So you basically buy your ticket. Yeah, I mean there'll be a few other ways to play, but in its core, you know, I was obsessed with the Titanic when I was a kid, and I think that it has a lot of fun as a kind of like a one-shot project.
Yeah, it wouldn't really be like fantasy. There wouldn't be ghosts. There's not a way to
No,
save the ship.
no. I mean, like, I thought
But-
about weird stuff like that. I read a book when I was a kid where it was like a guy time traveled back to the Titanic, and he was like, you know, it's not really gonna. But you know, an RPG is just a framework, and you can kind of use to do whatever you want, really.
Yeah,
If you want to.
once it exists, we could.
Yeah, you could. There's
You
all
could
sorts
drop
of
it in.
weird things you could do. I mean, we use RPGs for all sorts of crazy stuff. So it's really just like a framework that you can use to do whatever. But if you're a fan of that history, if you have any interest in the Titanic and the sinking of that,
Yeah.
then it's going to be pretty cool. So
1 second. Give me 10 seconds, everyone. Patience, please. We're back. Nothing is wrong. Everything is fine. Thanks for your attention.
we were just sued by the Titanic.
We were just sued by the Titanic.
He came in the
itself.
room and he was like, cease and desist.
Yeah.
You're done.
That was a bummer, let me say.
Titanic,
I thought
RPG canceled.
of all the things that we would have been served a cease and desist by, the Titanic itself was pretty low on my list.
And it sucks. There goes my hopes and dreams.
It's just like the Titanic. So we got 2 RPGs on the horizon for 2024. We a little bit of a different like workflow, different thing. But
RPGs, yeah.
if you've noticed, we've really been committing to these hardcover books in a lot of instances, and that format would work for an RPG pretty well. I've heard.
You've heard, right? We want to publish all sorts of stuff, and RPGs are very popular, and a lot of people buy them. A lot of people like buying the books. We have no shortage of ideas,
Yep.
so we want to get into that space.
But we can't forget our other projects. Some projects that need some tender love and care.
TLC.
Some TLC.
This is the TLC. This is we're patting them on the head, and we're just like, soon.
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 You'll get there, champ. Regime Rumble and Violent Dark. These are also written by Matthew Burns, the prolific writer.
So prolific. The guy is a machine. He's amazing.
Both of these projects, so with Lunar, we mentioned that it's a little bit cost prohibitive to get the current core box in retail, to get it overseas. Low-key, it just kind of sucks to manufacture on our end. It's not fun. There's a ton of waste. And we said, that's an easy problem. New core box, rein it in a little bit.
Yep.
Regime Rumble and Violent Dark, similar sort of issues. We made them at a time when we, to be completely frank, didn't know a lot of what we were doing. We were just kind of swinging away.
Yeah,
at
we were
it.
just like, let's make some games. How hard can it be, right?
Yeah. We like these games a ton, but they need some TLC
Yeah.
to make it back out into the wild.
Yeah, for sure.
So relaunch the game faster, more deadly, clones get additional dice, new game modes, packaging to allow more customization, and clean up and streamline the rules. So Matt has now also learned a ton about his rules writing. He has really started to hone his knife's edge to be razor sharp, and is going to give these a bit of a rework for these new projects. Now, these are under the TBD, to be determined section
It's
of
like
the
TLC
present-
TBD.
TLC
Wow.
TBD.
So many little
RPG
abbreviations.
SKRMISH. I spent so long trying to think of a skirmish acronym. But they're TBD because with Breacher, with Don't Look Back, with all these other projects, we never want to let those things suffer in quality or drop off the radar. In the same way that we aren't going to release a Halloween set for Don't Look Back unless the original project is fulfilling nicely. OMG. Yep, there it is. I should have just put OMG. I should have just put like FBI or something and then never addressed it. So, Violent Dark, overhaul the rule, more options to grow the crew, overhaul the layout to bring it in line with newer books, focus more on different types of tables. So right now, one of the main issues with Violent Dark, right, is people say, well, I don't want to buy the Cormorant set. Or, oh, I have to play in a ship. And you don't. In fact, it was specifically written that you don't, but we kind of missed the mark on that. Because originally it was written that you did.
I mean, look, let's be real. Like, we're learning. Each release we do, we learn what lands and what doesn't land. And we feel like Violent Dark just didn't land in the way that we feel like it should. It hasn't had as much success as we feel like it should. I mean, it's a really fun game. And if you're into space horror and all that kind of stuff, so really we're fans of, like, if something's not working, we need to change the perspective and figure out a new angle of how we can get the rules that the writer has spent so much time developing.
The world that the rules exist in.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, our plan originally was to, like, kind of tweak Violent Dark a little bit, but Matt and I have been talking a lot, and we really feel like it needs to be kind of a bit of a different approach to the game. That's kind of our plan for that. The big thing is going to be making it playable on things that aren't just like ship terrain, so you don't feel like you have to spend hundreds of dollars on the entry to the game. You know, that's really important. I'm really excited to start on that one.
I feel like a lot of people also say, like, oh, Violent Dark, it's just Don't Look Back in space. It's not.
It's not. No, actually, it's very different. It's very different.
There's going to be kind of a whole ground-up revamp of, like, okay, so we missed the mark a bit on this initial introduction.
It's a shake-up.
And I could be wrong, because they aren't done yet, but I feel like Violent Dark may receive the most changes out of any of these projects that we're revamping.
It's possible, and I can't really comment on, again, we always approach these things from the perspective of, like, we don't want to make things obsolete, we don't want to invalidate anything. The original game is still going to exist in its entirety, and people will be able to play it and enjoy it. We just need to, like, come at it from a different angle and kind of just see what works, you know? So
give it the tender love and care that it deserves. Which takes us to the next thing. SKRMISH.
Skirmish.
Skirmish.
This one is stacked. This is a stacked category.
There's not even photos on this
We need to sit up straight for respect for what we're about to witness.
At my brother's wedding, my parents came up to me after we did the rehearsal, and they said, Connor, you're standing funny. Because I was, like, super nervous about my posture at the wedding. And so, like, I was apparently standing, like this far back.
Whoa, you were like...
I was like really overcompensating.
Chest out.
Anyways, they're like, Connor, don't do that. And so now I live my life in a constant state of like,
Listen, if we're talking about posture, I have the word. Let's get to skirmish. Okay. Come on, go.
Okay, skirmish. Boop. Look at all this text.
Whoa, look at all that. What a stack.
First up, Tempest Mortis. So this is something by Alex Winter and Matt Strange, a couple of Aussies as well. We're bringing in some more.
The plan is that this company is just going to become more Australian as we go.
Pretty soon we'll just move to...
You're going to wear an Akubra with the corks on it. We'll drink nothing but Fosters.
Did I ever try Foster's?
You did, and you didn't like it.
Yeah, it was not good.
To be fair, it's probably one of the worst beers ever made.
It's Aussie. So Tempest Mortis, this is actually a game that you could go get right now. If you Google Tempest Mortis, Alex Winter, Matt Strange, you can go pick it up. The Alex Winter and Matt Strange approached us, said, hey, we have this game. We want to take it to the next level, and we think your company could do it. So we don't exactly know what this project is going to end up looking like. As it stands right now, Tempest Mortis is purely digital, purely out there. We want to respect the original intention of the game, which was that the rules were always free.
Yep.
And since we kind of have our current royalty pay structure, company structure on these rule books, that changes some things for us. But they have led us through the game over Tabletop Sim because, again, they're in Australia, and I love it. I am a huge Smite fan as a MOBA. You love Dota.
I played a lot of Dota 2 when me and my mates played that when I was in art school and before I moved to the US. And if you're into any of those types of games, I think this game probably will kind of scratch that itch for sure.
They took these very MOBA elements and said, how do we represent this on a tabletop, but still make it a fun tabletop game? It's not just a MOBA on a tabletop that you're moving instead of using a controller for or something. Really, I mean, I feel like
it's
solid.
They ran us through a game and Connor and I were like, this is really good.
Yeah.
This is really good. So we're really, really excited about it. It's going to be, like Connor said, this is a very different type of product for us. So there is a lot of background development currently happening of how do we get this like to market and whatever like market means, right? So currently it's like we make a product, it gets sold. And people buy it, and it goes on a shelf, and it can go into a game store. This is a little different. So currently
its difference is, we should clarify, is something that, like, that's what intrigues me.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I was like, huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's different.
That sort of feeling is really fun.
Yeah, and we really like experimenting with different ways to make products and different ways to get products out there and in front of people. And I think this is something else we're going to try with. And it's really cool.
I will say, if you're a fan of MOBA action, even if you played in high school or just on the weekends at some, like Dota, League of Legends, what was friggin' the Blizzard one? Heroes of the Storm? Is that right?
I don't know. I never played that.
There's Paragon by Epic, which apparently is getting a relaunch.
So many of them.
And they scratch it. It's a specific kind of game. You don't get other places. It's not Battle Royale. Having the lanes, having the jungle, having the roles. I love it. And this game on the tabletop scratches that itch, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and the characters are all really unique, and it also gives us a chance to do some like crazy sculpts, like real like fun, creative opportunities for me, which I really dig that a lot. So
we're very excited about Tempest Mortis. It's on the TBD list because I feel like once we get the sights in on that project, it's going to be hard to get away from it. So you may see that one sneaking in earlier rather than later. Yeah, but we got to see. Alex is in chat right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So if you have any questions about Tempest Mortis, Alex Winter, it is like 4 a.m. in Australia right now.
He's an internet warrior right now.
This guy is straight dedicated.
And also, like after the stream ends, he'll be in the Discord. We'll be in the Discord. We can hang out, chat. If people have questions, we can just chat about everything that you saw on the stream today.
Yeah.
What do we got next?
Mighty. So this one, also a lot of people in the Discord have their kids involved in their hobby or are trying to get their kids involved in their hobby. From like 4-year-olds to 12-year-olds to Discord mods. Across the board, there is kids of all ages and occupations that the parents would love to play games with their kids if they were into it. So Matt had talked to us and said, hey, I have this really cool idea. Matt is a teacher, in case you don't know. And he wanted to make this game that not only is easy and even geared towards kids to play, but can reinforce things from that sort of education standpoint. Now, I know I'm losing a lot of people because I use the word education.
Like, learning. Oh, God.
But listen, if you like Don't Look Back, if you like Violent Dark, if you like We Work for Them, which no one knows if you like yet, but you will.
You will.
Matt is a great writer, and I have full faith that not only can he make a good game, but he can make it teach us something along the way.
I mean, and he's a teacher. He knows how to teach, and he knows a lot about that.
Yeah. Friendly topics. You don't have to explain to your 7-year-old who the god Slanesh is or why they're important as a chaos god.
Bit of fun.
Friendly setting, easy setup, stuff you have around the house. You don't have to worry about them breaking a miniature. I think it's a really...
I think it could be fun creatively too, because I think there's a lot of really cool things that we could do creatively to make it appeal to a younger audience, but also make it just fun. I mean,
and fill that kind of gap. Like, I don't have to censor my don't look back playthrough. I mean, and a lot of people don't. That's fine. But if you're trying to play with a 4-year-old, you don't want to talk about how someone's chainsawing another man necessarily.
Yeah.
Or you do. And I'm not here to judge your parenting. But if you don't want to do that, then Mighty is potentially going to be the game for you.
This is going to be cool.
Nighthaven is his other project that he's got going on.
This one
is not Knighthaven.
This one is something that came out from like a late night gaming session, and Matt and I were on Discord, and we were like, "Oh, what if we did this?" And he was like, "I'm doing it." And he went to Starbucks like the next day and just like smashed it out. This is kind of a love letter to games like Mordheim, to like the grimdark late 90s era fantasy that we all really like, the old Hammer vibe. And this is kind of like, again, a little bit of a passion project that has kind of hooked us. It's like got its hooks in.
Which is a great thing about the structure of these projects, is you say like, oh man, growing up, I always loved this thing. I wish I could have that thing again. Yeah. And then you say, well, why don't we just make that thing again? Why don't we fix the things we had issues with, make it more accessible, give it a revamp sort of to fit the modern day? There's all sorts of little tweaks you can make. And you may never capture that pure nostalgia, but you can have fun while doing it.
It's about hooking into the things we loved during that era of tabletop gaming, and visually, creatively, I think it could be really fun. I already have some little things brewing away for that, so I'm pretty hyped for it.
Look at this.
Oh, what's going on there?
Look at this.
Just leave it.
I'm not leaving it.
Just leave it.
I'm not leaving it. Okay. I'll leave it. That's a bummer. It didn't save. This is Rust 66. You can't read it.
Rust 66.
And what sucks is we threw in the Midnight City thing as a meme. I mean, it's like a half meme.
You also misspelled.
Where?
Lano.
No, it's Iono. That's a capital Y.
What?
Ask me something. Just ask me a question. Just do it. Just ask me a question.
Do you tan your biceps?
Oh. To see? That's what it is.
The guy knows what he's talking about.
So, Midnight City probably going to get released 2024.
Yeah.
Don't know how or when or what that's going to end up looking like.
We did that as a game jam. That was just an internal kind of bit of a learning experiment for us as a studio and as developers. We wanted to kind of just run through a bunch of development things together as a team. Eventually, our hope is that we can actually have people in-house that write projects. We want to have more in-house stuff produced. Obviously, maybe if it could be like a writer comes to us with an external project, but we have people on staff that are writers and editors that can kind of help them hone that. So we kind of want to start to figure out maybe how that would work. And we were like, a game jam sounds like a really fun project. Midnight City was what we chose. It's already had a ton of work done on it. We streamed a bunch of it. It's really fun. And our intention is we will release it at some point as a finished game.
Yes. So it'll probably happen in 2024. Rust 66, though, the one you can't read, which is, I'm really upset about this.
Rust 66.
Rust 66 by JD. Post-apocalyptic 28mm kit bash vehicular skirmishing.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. He actually drove all the way down last year.
Yep.
I say all the way. It's from Oklahoma.
That's still a fair way.
It is not down the street.
No.
It's down the road. And oh, actually, can you go grab that vehicle that he gave?
Oh
us?
yeah,
It's on the table.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And he demoed us this game. It is kind of this intersection between Fallout and Gaslands and Mad Max, with this emphasis on kit bashing vehicles. And he actually kit bashed and sent us this vehicle for us.
Our very own post-apocalyptic car.
I don't know.
People can see it from here. It's
I
fine.
don't know.
Look at this.
Yeah, there's no close-up camera
This little car. He made this
here
for
we go.
us.
Super zoom.
He sent this to us. It's really awesome. It's like fully kit bashed. So the plan is like the game is really encourages you to build out these kind of crazy things. Some of the things that he's built for the game are truly like crazy and like just insanely cool.
The demos, we were driving down not an infinite highway, but a highway, and maneuvering, but also jumping and throwing, and our guys are on the ground and getting left behind.
It was a lot of fun.
And
And JD's really passionate about this game.
Yes.
He has written a really cool rule set, and he's super passionate about it. He demos it a lot at conventions. I think at least local conventions for sure. And I'm sure he's always willing to chat about it and give you more insight to that. But yeah, it's really, honestly, it's a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
he's done a really good job capturing that theme for sure.
he also just has a whole fleet of kit bash vehicles.
Yeah, he's got like every
That
type of vehicle.
Are incredible in and of themselves. Yeah, like Matt said, he jumped off a motorcycle and died. So it's almost like real life.
Yep, that's true. It's funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's Rust 66. It's slightly obscured by that meme that I put in somehow, and still just really getting under my skin because of it. But top secret project.
Huge top secret project for next year. Massive.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest thing we've ever done.
It's going to be really fun because sometime in February, it's going to. So, probably the biggest thing on the horizon right there.
It's crazy. And I mean, like, it'll blow your face off.
Yeah. I may sink the company.
Yeah, it's so big.
And just pure ambition.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, yeah, it's so ambitious that you just don't even know.
Look at that. I like this in particular.
All right, let's move on.
I
What
can't-
else we got?
I can't back out. I can only zoom in farther.
Oh,
there we go.
no. We're in there now. We're going into the redaction.
I can only click things.
All right.
This isn't a troll.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, hold on. I need to get to an actual mouse.
He broke it, ladies and gentlemen. He's done. We're done. We're done. So yeah, this skirmish category is kind of like a lot of essentially all of these projects move forward one step together at a time, and then as things kind of get a little bit further ahead, we start to give them release slots and things like that. These are things to keep your eyes out for on the horizon. There'll definitely be a lot of the projects that are gearing up for 2024.
Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Oh no,
Don't look at him. Don't look
Connor's
at him.
fixing everything.
Don't look at him. Don't look at it.
Don't look back.
Don't look at it.
Don't look back.
Don't look at it. Don't.
All right, so that's basically skirmish, and now we come to the huge announcement.
Oh, it's not even centered on the frame.
The announcement you've all been waiting for, and the one that we've also just leave it. Just
Okay,
leave it.
okay.
We are really, really excited to announce that we've partnered with Joey Maguire
Yes.
and World's End Publishing to publish the second edition of This Is Not a Test. I've known Joey for a while. I actually did some custom terrain for him way, way back. This was actually not long after I moved to the US. and he's a really, really great guy. He's been a big supporter of ours over the years. He's always been using our kits and all that kind of stuff. If you are unfamiliar with This Is Not a Test, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe it was released in 2015, around 2015. The game has been around for a while. It is well established as a solid skirmish rule set. And it's been out of print, I think, for a little bit. I think you can still get the PDF online of the original rulebook. And he's been wanting to do a second edition. He's really passionate about this game. He is kind of lives and breathes the post-apocalypse. And he's crafted a really unique kind of world around This Is Not a Test.
Yes.
But he wants to kind of take that further, and we're really excited to help him do that. This is a really big thing for us. This is an established game. This was a big leap for us, and we're really thankful that Joey's willing to put the trust in us as publishers to kind of get this out there. And I'm just like super excited to start working. So let's kind of dive in a little bit to like what information.
What is this going on? This was written by Joey himself right there.
Yeah, I was like, send me some notes. We can tell people.
I'm not going to go through and read all his text.
That's fine. People can read that.
Just because I don't think I could do it in his. The big thing there, Adepticon 2024.
Yep. We are aiming to have this book ready for sale at Adepticon 2024 as its debut. We're going to bring you along the journey. We're going to show you behind the scenes. You're going to see all of the ins and outs and ups and downs of us making this game in the same way that we do on our YouTube. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of work. But the game is going to be amazing. I'm not going to speak to any of the specific changes that Joey is planning to make for the new edition. I know there are going to be some tweaks. There's some things that he wants to adjust. Like I said, the game has been out for a long time. It's been well and truly run through and play tested and errated and all that kind of stuff. So he has a really strong idea of like the things that he wants to further develop for the game.
Yeah.
I know through the discussions that we've had that he wants to explore a lot of more like build your own apocalypse type stuff with the book. But we will have him on the stream at some point, and we'll do a more in-depth kind of discussion about, you know, what is going to be in the book. But this is the big announcement. We are really excited about this.
Yes. It will be not just a reprint.
Correct.
This book is getting... It's going to be a different book.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting a lot of treatment.
If you're familiar with our books, Yafsiga, Hametsu, and DLB, you know that we really seek to create books that are highly creative and designed. And
real tangible things.
Yeah, we want the books to be a product that people are proud to own. You know, in themselves. And part of that is that these writers put so much work into developing these IPs and these properties that we want to back that up with like as much effort ourselves.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that when people pick up the book, they're like, this thing is awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
It also lets the writers not deal with all of the shenanigans that go on. And so when we were talking to Joey, it was this idea of, hey man, what do you not want to deal with? Because we'll deal with it. And conversely, what do you want to deal with? Like, what is the stuff that you really wish you could have fleshed out, had time, expanded on, but because it was already printed or because you just had this other stuff going on, you couldn't. So this project, if you love This Is Not a Test, it's going to be like This Is Not a Test, the definitive edition sort of thing. You know?
I want this to be like the post-apocalyptic rulebook to end all post-apocalyptic rulebooks.
Yeah, the
like when you open the book,
the
apocalypse actually happens,
right
and
in your
you
face.
You put on leather armor and a spiky helmet, and you get spray paint, and you go crazy. Look, this is going to be we're going to be working really hard on this. Like I said, we're going to showcase as much of it as we can on our YouTube. Joey's a really, really cool writer. He writes really cool books.
Yeah.
He's written This Is Not a Test. He's worked on a bunch of stuff in Blaster. He's written Reality's Edge. And we're really excited to have him come and join our lineup here at Blacksite Studios.
Will there be specific minis? And sorry, I started reading the other thing.
I was reading that comment, bold of you to assume I'm not already wearing leather armor and a spiky helmet.
Yes.
Hey man, you do you, all right? I'm just excited to get this game done.
We have plans. I mean, we have a ton of post-apocalyptic terrain as it is. Now we just have a reason to make even more, which we're excited to get back into.
And Joey, through World's End, is still going to keep producing the miniatures that he makes. And there's going to be a lot of things over the coming, I'd say, next couple of weeks of like where digital content's going to end up and all that kind of stuff. And we'll be kind of keeping you all updated with that. We do have plans for miniatures for it.
Yes.
That will be kind of done in conjunction with that. And just like cool stuff. I mean, who doesn't want more cool post-apocalyptic stuff, right? I mean, I know I do.
Yeah. It's some of the most fun kits to design and then build and then kit bash because you get to physically bash the kit.
It's just like punch it. It's like, I'm done. So we wanted to hype this release up a little bit because, like I said, This Is Not a Test is a pretty established property, and we're really excited that Joey's decided to kind of come on board and partner with us to get it done. So it's I even did that special piece of artwork of that guy smoking the cigarette.
Yeah. In the apocalypse, everyone smokes cigarettes.
I mean, yeah, right.
That's how you know it's the apocalypse.
It doesn't matter. So again, I'll have a channel for This Is Not a Test in the Discord, and we'll hang out. We'll talk about all of that. There is a really good Facebook group for This Is Not a Test already. So if you want to learn more about the game, if you want to kind of get in now on some of the first edition stuff as we develop the second edition, it's a great place to start. It's just, I think, This Is Not a Test is the Facebook group. I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah. This Is Not a Test on the maybe there's some crossover. Well, speaking of crossovers, the zine.
The zine.
Vault. This is the last thing that didn't make it to the slides because we kind of want to just take a good swing at it. Yeah.
We swing away.
You want to talk about it? Because I don't know about it.
We are going to publish a zine, a rule zine. It's currently called The Vault, and it's essentially going to be a vehicle for the writers that we partner with to publish more experimental rules for either the games they write or random stuff they want to write.
Yeah.
Could be one-off games, could be really simple stuff. Basically, we want to give them a platform to just try stuff.
Yeah.
One really good example of the kind of things you might see in the new zine is alien rules for Luna.
Yeah. What if there was Nazis on the moon?
What if there was aliens on the moon?
What if there was alien Nazis on the moon?
Man, that blew my mind. That's crazy. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Things that we don't want in the main canon, but things that we just want to have fun with and experiment with. The plan is that we'd like to put one of these out each quarter, and currently it will just be a digital-only product. We don't have any plans to print them. Maybe we might print like an anthology. What if the Titanic was on the moon? I mean, that's truthfully, something that we could figure out through the zine. So that is something that we're kind of working away. Any of the writers that publish with us will be eligible to work in that, and maybe there might be other people. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? We just want to make it like it's going to be highly experimental, kind of crazy off the wall stuff, and
I do like the idea that everything in the zine has to take place on the moon.
Yeah. What if Don't Look Back was on the moon? What if? Wait, no, but what would we if Luna not on the moon?
What if Lunar was on a model of the moon on the moon? Zombie Nazis on the moon.
We have to go deeper. I'm dying. I'm choking on a Slim Jim.
It does have that ability to have some crossplay, though.
Yeah.
What if
the biggest thing we're trying to iron out? This was originally supposed to be kind of done sooner, but we just need to figure out how writers are going to get paid from doing this. That's truthfully.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Is that we want everyone to get their cut, right?
Hey, there's an idea. What if Luna but diving bell suits at the bottom of the ocean?
Oh man, what if you're in a Titanic?
Don't say it. No, we're not.
What if Yeah, so we want the writers to get their cuts, but we also want this to be like as financially cheap for people as possible, because this is a playground.
Yeah.
This is stuff that is meant to be fun and get a good laugh, have a good time.
Yeah.
And so striking that balance between like, oh yeah, we're going to give some 40-page document for a quarter, and everyone who contributes to it gets a penny.
Yeah, that's kind of currently what we're
Doesn't feel
wrestling
good.
with. It's almost like some people are like, oh yeah, but like it's like marketing for my game. These are all things we're trying to figure out and kind of work through. As soon as we have some type of consensus with us and the writers that we want to partner with this,
Yeah.
we'll get it done and get it out. Well, that's pretty good announcement stream. Look at that. So let's just do like a real quick rehash, right?
Yeah.
Just a real quick recap of what we announced and went over today. We have the first two backroom, or the next two backroom events, launching August 22nd?
It is
August
22nd.
22nd, Mobile Arms Endless Destiny. This will be the last backroom event of this year. Let's hope it's the biggest. Who knows? People love mechs. I love mechs.
Yeah.
Mechs and waifus. That's what we got.
Yeah.
By Corey Sullivan. Early next year, Q1. We're saying Q1.
Yeah.
Our plan is January, but we haven't put that up there in writing. Breacher by Matt Burns. Sir Matt Burns.
Is he a sir now?
He is a sir. He should be a sir.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like a modern action game set in the near future.
Yeah.
My brain is fried at this point. And then moving on, we got next releases for existing games. We have the Luna relaunch.
We get a new core box, pre-order July 20th, retail
20th.
friendly. New rulebook, pre-order July 20th. If you just want the rulebook, or if you just want to stock the rulebook because you're a store,
Yep.
that will be available to
Yep.
you. There also is some quality of life improvements that we're looking at, like adding in a photocopy of the basic cards in the
Yep.
back of the book.
Yeah, a little bit more like, I just want to try this game out. Let me just buy the book. I'm at my
So-
game store. I'm just going to grab the book, that kind of thing.
Much more valuable product than it's on its own than its current iteration. New factions. I've been saying JAXA in my head.
That's how I would say it.
The JAXA, the ISRO, and the new freelancer vehicle that will have some attachments on the front you can choose your loadout. I did that again. And then we go to the general releases. Hametsu, all scopes in August. Backroom delivery still on track for August and September. Q4 2023. Backgrounds and name generation from the writer himself. Give your heroes a little bit more flavor. And then in 2024, we're going to have the errata come out. Right now, it's very not substantial. It'd be like a quarter of a page, but maybe there's some more stuff that comes up over time. The second raid, including some commemorative and unique item cards at Adepticon as an event we're looking at running.
Yeah, we want Adepticon to be a little bit more community focused.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of it for us is like we show up and we're so driven and focused on like getting a sales return from it, but we want to kind of shift our focus for Adepticon and make it more about like showcasing the games as best as we possibly can, running some events,
Yeah.
running plenty of demos, people come meet the writers, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of this ties into our shift in thought process for Adepticon.
Raid 2 PDF for general release after that in Q2, post Adepticon. And then Q3, summer, end of summer, we're looking at the second campaign release, as well as the next school for Hametsu, the School of Elements. We go on to Yafsiga, end of this year, the Wodans and Kavans 6-man war bands, aiming to get those out and into your hands. And then beginning of next year, the first campaign supplement, the Shores of the Bloom Reach, in which your intrepid band of adventurers will go to the fringes of the Bloom Reach in an effort to discover the mysteries that lie within. We then zoom back out to some TBD stuff in the pipeline. We have 2 RPGs on the horizon. You Work for Them and the Titanic RPG that potentially are going to be released in 2024. We have some TLC on the games Regime Rumble and Violent Dark, some reboxing, repackaging, and some rules rewriting to make it much more available and easy to play for the average consumer.
We don't ever want to publish a game and drop it.
Yeah.
That's truthfully our mission statement. We don't ever want to have dead games. If a game is lacking, then that's something that we're doing wrong, and we need to approach it from a bit of a fresh angle, and that's kind of ties into that.
We also have a ton of new games. Tempest Mortis, Alex Winter in chat right now. The perfect, I'll say it, the perfect MOBA tabletop game crossover. It is perfect. Can't be improved. Except for getting physical things in my hands. Mighty, the game from Matt Burns, which is kid friendly and is also educational. But we don't talk about that part because then people find it boring. But it's actually something really cool. And as someone with a 4-month-old, I look forward to playing it in 6 years.
Oh yeah, you and your little baby will be able to just like be rolling dice.
Yep. Night Haven. If you love games that rhyme with Nordheim, you'll love Night Haven. An homage to nostalgia.
Yeah, it's a love letter to Oldhammer.
Midnight City is probably going to get dropped in 2024, and Rust 66 post-apocalyptic 28mm kit bash vehicular skirmishing.